Perfect, brother. How are you?
I'm doing great. How you doing?
I'm doing amazing. How's your morning been?
It's been good. A little
Yeah,
slow, but good.
that's fine.
So,
It's beautiful background you have.
yeah, I'm just in my backyard.
Yeah, brother. How's everything?
Life is good. I mean, I have no complaints.
Yeah.
Being out here in LA, it's been a dream. So, you know, I feel like I'm just getting started here as well
Mm-hmm.
after being here for almost 2 years now, which is really cool. So,
Right.
it's
So if
been
if you
been
don't
really
mind,
awesome.
let's start with that. Your move to LA across country.
Yeah.
Why? Why did you ever make that happen? How was life before that?
So, I took like the typical route, went to college, did my 4 years, and then after college I was just working for a bit. I was doing like manual labor. Excuse me, because I never wanted to do like a typical 9 to 5 job. I'd rather be outside working landscaping jobs than you know
Mm-hmm.
be stuck in an office. So I did that for like a year, and then moved to Costa Rica for a few months. After that, kind of got bored. Met some great people in Costa Rica, surfed with Paul.
Oh
Um,
wow.
and then my brother, Arnie, he's been in LA for a while. So he's been out here doing photography for like maybe 7 years now.
Wow.
Um, been trying to get me to move out for a while.
Mm-hmm.
So after Costa Rica, I was just like, all right, I'm not going to go back to Charleston where I was. And I was like, I'm just gonna pack up, sell everything I can, and move to LA and see what
Yeah,
happens. You
I
know,
love that. What's the age difference between you and Arnie?
he's 2 years older.
How's your relationship?
It's really good. I mean,
Yeah.
especially since we're now like living in the same town. I mean,
Mhm.
we didn't live together for at least like 6 years after
Okay.
he moved here. So I was in school, he was over here.
Mhm.
It costs a lot to fly back and forth. I'd see him holidays, maybe once in the summer or something, but
Mhm.
yeah, that's the whole reason we started Erda,
Right.
is because we finally we always knew we wanted to do like something,
Mhm.
but we were always across the country. It never
Mhm.
lined up.
Mhm.
But once I moved here, it was like, okay, now we have this shared space. We can work easily together, and you know everything kind of just aligned. So it was
So
cool.
before we go to Erda, I'd like to keep talking about this move to LA. How was how
Yeah.
was how was arriving to LA? What was that like?
Well, the trip was just a disaster from the start.
Why is that?
So my truck is pretty old. It's like a 2006. Not
Mhm.
too bad, but um, literally driving to Atlanta to go stay with one of my friends.
Yeah.
It's only like a 4-hour drive. My brakes just explode, my back brake on my
Okay.
truck.
Yeah.
So I'm driving like 80 on the interstate, no brakes. Everyone starts slamming on the brakes.
Yeah.
And I had to like throw the truck off into the shoulder, and I literally thought I was going to cause like a major accident, but
Mhm.
luckily nothing severe happened. The brakes were toast. I made it to like a little mechanic shop, and then they're like, no, we can't fix this. We're gonna have to tow it to Toyota dealership.
Mhm.
So that was like literally on the 1st of January, like the
Mhm.
start of the new year. Brakes explode. I'm stuck in Atlanta for like an extra 4 days,
Yeah.
whereas I was supposed to be in LA like in 4 days time
Mhm.
total.
Yeah.
And pay a bunch of money for that. And
Yeah.
then but good thing is I had friends in Atlanta. I had a place
Mhm.
to stay.
Mhm.
uh, and then got the trip going after that. After I paid a bunch of money and wasted some time, but
That's great. What are you drinking, by the way?
this
Raw
shout
milk.
out, I like it
Methylene
raw.
Blue?
This is methylene blue, and some orange juice.
Okay.
I'm still skeptical about the methylene blue.
Why is that?
Overall, I don't know. It's not natural, right?
Of course.
It's a synthetic dye.
Yeah.
I see the benefits. I want to try it, and I like how I feel on it.
Mm-hmm.
But the long-term studies aren't there. So,
yeah. It's a very powerful
mm-hmm.
Compound drug, a lot of electrons.
It's cool.
But it's interesting. There's one point that Vance Elrod, you know who he is. You get his methylene from him. Yeah. There's one point that I love that he talks about, which is, well, you need modern solutions for modern problems. I do agree, but part of that is returning to before the modern problems.
Right.
Have you experimented with methylene blue for your tallow?
No, I haven't put it in any of the tallow. I haven't tried his either. I've heard good things. And then Nick Smart, he does his facial serum. I don't know if it's the morning or evening serum that has the methylene blue, but I'm excited to try that out.
Yeah, I don't know if you knew, but every single time I get your tallow, I add methylene blue to it.
Do you really?
I love it so much.
Thing is, just drop it in there and mix it up?
Yeah. So for a bottle of your tallow, I'll do like a dropper and a half. The only struggle is mixing the methylene blue with the tallow. So I have to re-whip it.
Right, makes sense.
But it works great.
Perfect for those melted ones.
It's perfect for the what?
The melted ones.
Yeah, exactly. That was the easiest one to do. I haven't opened the new ones too. They're waiting for me. I'm super excited for that. Before you moved to LA, first of all, why did you go to Costa Rica? Was that just like, fuck it, we ball?
Pretty much. I mean, this is like, I guess I started like kind of my health journey, if you want to call it that, maybe 2020. And then I graduated school. I knew some people in Costa Rica. I used to valet in college, and my old boss started a yoga, health and wellness retreat in Costa Rica. So he just started that. I had a place to stay in Costa Rica, which was super cool. And then Saladino was down there. Carnivore Aurelius was down there. And
so you already were in Schizo and Health Twitter?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah. I wasn't so much on the Twitter side as I was on Instagram. But yeah, I figured the whole idea was to move down there and kind of like surf and try and get as healthy as possible. And it ended up just not being where I was supposed to be. God had different plans for me.
That's beautiful.
But it was a great time to just hang out, meet some people, and surf a ton, and help my old boss start his retreat. So that was really cool.
That's beautiful.
Mountains to see. I'm gonna shout him out. Shout out Mountains to See, Costa Rica. It's a beautiful place.
What is it? An hotel?
No, it's like they have like 3 villas on site, a cool like pool, gym, yoga studio. So that's where I was staying for the bulk of my trip. And
that's beautiful. The health journey you mentioned, why did that start?
To be honest, I mean, Solbra is a huge influence. He started and kind of like piqued my interest into the more niche parts of health. I was already like working out and pretty much eating pretty healthy, besides like mac and cheese, I guess. But me and
Yeah.
Arnie, me and my brother, we've always grown up like really active outside every day.
Mhm.
Um, but then a buddy of mine sent me Solbra's account as I was like getting more and more into the gym. It
Mhm.
was like, listen to what this guy has to say, read his stuff. And I was like, yeah, wow, this guy's like smart.
Mhm.
I resonated with a lot of what he had to say. We had very similar ways of thinking.
Mhm.
And I was like, if this guy understands all these things in the simplest way, maybe it's like the right way. Because I
Okay.
think in very simple terms as well.
Mhm.
So I just started reading his stuff, getting more into the esoteric knowledge, I guess.
Mhm.
And then, um, I don't know, kind of found my own path through finding him and then, finding the other people on the internet as well. So
Mhm.
the internet, really, shout out the internet for being so cool.
Yeah. So, was there anything that kind of forced you to look at these, kind of like the Sobra types? Did anything happen in life where your health was in risk a little bit that pushed you to this,
I don't
or nothing
think
at
it
all?
was, I never had any big like health problems.
Mhm.
Luckily, I mean, God bless, we've been
Mhm.
healthy. Um, but I really just wanted a simpler life.
Okay.
And, you know, when you're working out a lot, all the gym stuff, you got the protein powder, the pre workout, the creatine, whatever. And I've always been just like a simple person, like plain foods, you know, easy workouts, just getting it done in the most effective and efficient ways.
Okay.
And like the ancestral kind of like living how we're supposed to live lifestyle kind of just resonated with me. And all these things that these guys were preaching was just like, this just makes sense. Like just eating plain foods that are
Yeah.
easily digestible, you
Yeah.
know, working out twice, 3 times a week, and just living in a easier way, with the modern technologies that we have,
Mhm.
such as
Mhm.
methylene blue.
Yeah.
Um, I don't know, it just made sense to me, and it clicked. Something clicked, and I was like, all right, this is the right way for me to
Mhm.
live. I feel good doing this. So I don't
During or
know.
before that click, were you skeptical at all?
I mean, I've always been a skeptic about
Right.
everything. Um, but I wasn't really ever skeptical about like eating meat and potatoes,
Yeah.
or working out. Um, no, honestly, I didn't. That's one of the main reasons I kind of just like dove for it,
Mhm.
because I wasn't, and I'm normally skeptical about everything. And I
Right.
was like, this is the way.
Mhm.
And then,
Worked great.
yeah, it just happens.
Yeah. I'd like to tie this to Erda.
Mm.
It's, birth. You kinda touched on it a little bit, but how and why did that ever happen?
So, like I said, me and Arnie have always wanted to. We always knew we were gonna do something. We just didn't know what
Right.
it was. Um, and then I moved out here. I got really into like fitness and training, so I was gonna start like coaching through Instagram and Twitter. So trying to build that following. I was helping a few guys, had some random people reaching out, send them some free training protocols and stuff. Um, and then I was going to start like a supplement company along with
Mm.
that. So I started that, and then I was just like drop shipping supplements. So there's this website called like Supplify or something where you can drop ship all these different supplements.
Mhm.
And the ingredients are they're all right, but they still have like some little things that I wasn't proud of, I guess.
Okay.
So I was doing that and I was like, all right, this is cool. I get to put like a brand name on something and start it with like little capital. But I really wanted to do like a good quality thing and I needed a lot of money to start that. You know, you need probably like 10 grand to launch a supplement company the right way. And then I started using Van Man's tallow.
Okay.
And I was like, this stuff is good. It works. The smell is a little weird. And and like the consistency I wasn't like too big of a fan of because it's like you had to use a lot to, you know, get it to spread. And then I was like, okay, what if I made my own tallow and
How can I make this better?
yeah, how can I make this better?
Yeah.
Kind of like taking like the Virgil Abloh approach. And he always says like his approach was like taking the Nike shoes and just customizing it like 3%. And that made it unique enough for him to create an entire brand around.
Right.
So I kind of took that approach and I was like, how can I change this a little bit, but like still keep those like solid ingredients? I mean, there's so many tallows out there now, basically all doing the same thing. And tallow was never the thing I wanted to do. It was just kind of just the segue into creating a brand. But we changed it. We realized how good it actually was. And the people were loving it. They were loving the smell, the texture, everything. And I was like, okay, this is it. You know, people are loving that. I've never gotten feedback like that before on anything else I was doing. Luckily, I had a girlfriend who's an esthetician. I still have a girlfriend who's an esthetician. So she was helping a lot with like the formulation of everything. And then I was like, all right, all we need now is a name. And we spent weeks trying to come up with a good name. And you know, I wanted something short but not like weird and not too niche. And like something earthy and simple. But it took forever. And then I was texting one of my best friends and he was just like, what about like earth but in a different language?
Yeah.
He looked up like the old English version of earth and it means Erda. And I was like, dude, that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. And then we ran with that and we had the name. Arnie's an amazing photographer. We had, you know, perfect, beautiful images of everything. I went to school for business and, you know, me and Arnie were just talking and we're like, all right, we've been trying to do something for a long time. And we both believe in this. We both are in this like health world. We understand the aesthetics. We understand how to make it. This is it. And then we just started running with it and, you know, God bless it, worked out.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's still working. So it's cool.
Yeah, that's beautiful. How was this collaboration with Arnie? How did this did you guys start Erda like together? Does that make sense?
Yeah, so I had the supplement company. It was called Visionary. I don't even remember something Visionary. The Visionary Club was like the Visionary Athletic Club. I still want to do something with that, so trademark that.
I'll bleep it out so no one takes the
name. But yeah, I started the supplement company. I had the LLC formed and everything, and then I was like, I'm gonna change it to Erda. And so I basically started it, and then I was like, all right, I need my brother because he's the content genius. You know, he takes the best photos I've ever seen. So I was just like, it only makes sense just to like do this together. So we kind of just we were like, all right, this is it. I mean, let's do this. He already had his production company since he's been out in LA for so long. So he's still doing that.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of our focus is now on Erda.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. We never really formally, did anything. We're brothers. I mean,
Yeah.
there's no like contracts or anything that we really need until the
Mm-hmm.
company starts making millions.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, we just ran with it, and it's been 50-50. It's been amazing. It's been
Yeah.
hard, of course. I mean, like all families, there's disagreements, there's
Sure.
struggles you're going to go through.
Yeah.
Um, and we're pretty opposite, me and him. So there's a lot of like back and forth.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been great. It's been a learning experience for sure, but it's been
Yeah.
it's been great.
I love that. So with that like back and forth, have the same values of Erda been here since the start? That same feel of Earth, that same respect towards nature.
Mm-hmm.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
definitely. I
Or
mean,
how was? I mean, a more interesting question is like, how did that feel? Why was that ever created?
I
Like, where
mean,
does it come from?
I think it just comes from our childhood, really.
Okay.
We were running barefoot, jumping on
Mm,
the trampoline, swimming in the lake, running through the forest, building tree houses. Like
mhm,
our whole entire life revolved around being outside
mhm,
and like being in nature, whether we like consciously knew it or not.
mhm,
So we've always been like connected in that way. Um, and I always just felt the best when I was outside, whether I was hiking or swimming or whatever.
mhm,
So we just like instinctively knew that nature was the correct path, and
mhm,
everything that we're going to produce, whether it's going to be furniture, tallow balm
mhm,
for the rest of time, is going to revolve around natural, good,
mhm,
organic materials. So yeah.
mhm. I love that. Could you talk a little bit about the current the current products and what's behind them? Like, why are they being sold?
Yeah, so tallow balm was the number one thing that we started with.
Mhm,
Um, this was honestly the easiest product to make. You get some beef fat, you get some olive oil, you get some honey,
yeah,
essential oil, you whip it up, you're set.
yeah,
It's so easy. Everyone can make it at home, whether you have the time or not.
mhm,
Maybe you're not going to make it as good as some of the others on the market, but
mhm,
you can make it, no problem.
mhm,
So we knew we wanted to do like home goods and
mhm,
all these other products, but we're like, what can we start with? And Taliban was, crushing the market at the moment. It wasn't too saturated yet.
mhm.
I don't think it ever will be until like L'Oreal or someone starts doing it.
Yeah,
But we started with that. We're like, we can sell this. It's like a good product. People are loving it at the moment.
mhm,
Um, but the whole thing has just been like, what are products that I'm actually craving and gonna use?
right.
So, like the next product that we're working on is like a lip balm, and
Mhm.
this is something that like I desperately need because my girlfriend's always like, your lips are always chapped, and I'm like,
Mhm,
how? I have some
mhm,
sort of like chronic dry lips syndrome. I
mhm.
don't even know. Apparently, it has to do with the pancreas. So maybe I'm gonna do some
Really?
pancreas work and try and figure that out. But
Mhm,
yeah, the next product is a lip balm because I need it so bad.
mhm.
But it's always been products that I need. Like our latest one,
The
the
sunscreen?
sunscreen.
Mhm.
Uh, I mean, I'm pretty fair skinned. My dad has had so much skin cancer taken
Yeah.
out of his like face and back
Ar
and everywhere.
Arnie
Uh,
talked to me about that.
yeah, so he wore sunscreen all the time. which is like
Mm-hmm.
ridiculous. So like we're like, me and Arnie are like, we're not gonna get skin cancer. Like we can't. So we're like, all right, we want a good sunscreen because we're like, this obviously my dad having so much skin cancer and consistently wearing traditional sunscreen.
There's something wrong with that.
There's got to be something.
Okay.
So we're like, maybe it's the sunscreen. Other people on the internet have said that as well. There's obviously like horrible chemicals in there. So we're like, we need a sunscreen. You know, we need something we can wear that's good, that's cool, that doesn't, you know, leave you all zinky and white.
Yeah.
So that product took a while. This is like, we launched the tallow balm, no problem. That was so easy to make. But the sunscreen, I mean, just like this design, and like boxes and everything.
No, and the formula is more complex.
Yeah, exactly. The formula and like the zinc activation and everything is a little more complex. And the laws around sunscreen as well. Like we have to call it sun balm. We can't call it sunscreen without like the FDA's approval, which is very interesting. Because sunscreen.
So if your product is not FDA approved, it can be called sunscreen?
That's what I've read. There's like, I'm sure there's loopholes to everything, but a lot of the
That's
time,
really interesting.
Yeah, you can't call it like sunscreen or
sounds better as
sunblock. Yeah, sun balm. But you know, maybe there will be an FDA approval in the future, but who knows? But yeah.
What else?
It's always been just. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
What?
The cutting board, your sponge.
Oh yeah. The sponges were cool. I've never used like a loofah or a washcloth, and the sponges are so aesthetic that we're like, all right, this is sweet.
Yeah. And why was that? Why did you decide to sell a sponge?
Well, we're gonna do soap. We're gonna do body wash. We're gonna do shampoo, conditioner.
Oh wow!
So
I'm so excited for that.
A lot of the products that we're doing are like just kind of the start to all the different segments that we're gonna have. So like, the sponge is the start to the bath collection. The tallow balm is the start to the skincare. The cutting board is the start to the home goods. Because Erda to me has never just been like another tallow brand. That was like the whole goal of it in the beginning was like, we don't want to be another tallow brand. Like we could have called it like Earthly Tallow or whatever.
Yeah.
Like all these other brands are limiting themselves with their names, whether it's, I don't know, based balm or whatever. The entire brand revolves around one product. So we never wanted to like be limited in that way. So the whole reason of like Erda was earth, anything natural could be a part of our brand. And that's the goal from the beginning, was to have a brand that stands out, and that whenever you think of buying something natural, you're going to think of Erda.
I love that.
Yeah. So like, I want to be the Amazon of natural products.
I love that so much. What about the sources for everything? I mean, for the sponge, the tallow balm, everything.
So, yeah, the sponges are cool. The sea sponges typically grow in only like 2 areas of the world, like Greece and then kind of like the Bahamas, South Florida area. So we get ours from Florida. Tarpon Springs is the place they come out of. It's like a massive sponge market. I don't know. So like, there's divers diving every day and gathering these sponges and like cutting them and shaping them to like the correct size. So that's really cool. Tallow we get from Florida as well, surprisingly, from like a grass-fed, grass-finished farm. Such a high quality tallow. That's one of the reasons like I love our product so much, is because the tallow that comes is just, it's already perfect. And then we just add a few ingredients, mix it, whip it, and it just becomes so like buttery and smooth.
Yeah.
It's so good.
Yeah.
So that farm is amazing. Highest quality olive oil we can find. I actually am trying to I haven't reached out yet, but I want to partner with like the olive oil guy, bow tie
Yeah.
olive. That would be amazing to just have like a Oliva Dorado olive oil in our product, and then the honey as well. Honey is a very unique product because you don't need a lot of it in the tallow balm, or else it becomes too sticky and doesn't spread.
Okay.
But I would love to partner with like Helios honey or a guy doing some cool honey stuff, but that's all in the future.
California have such amazing quality for raw honey too, no? So many farms.
There's a bunch of farms out here.
Yeah.
We're in contact with a couple, but I would love to partner with like I said, like the guys on Twitter and Instagram that are just promoting the same things that I want to promote. So
Yeah.
maybe that's a possibility.
I love that.
Maybe I'll get my own bees.
And by the way, finding you in Industry of All Nations, there's something you said, which was working there has taught you so much. I didn't want to go through with that because I knew I wanted to touch on that specifically here.
Yeah.
And more specifically, it's a brand. I don't want to say it's with similar values to Erda a little bit, right?
Yeah, at least
the core is nature and sustainability, right?
Yeah,
exactly. So how is working there influenced Erda or even your life?
Dude, I mean, that's basically the whole reason I moved out here was,
Wow.
I mean, I was planning on moving to LA, but I was like taking my time with it. But I landed that job working and managing their store. So I wasn't going to move unless I had a job, kind of pointless to just move out here with no money. But I landed that job, and then I was like, this is perfect. I mean, I'm learning this entire company. I'm learning every aspect of Shopify and selling and visual merchandising and operations. And I'm learning about like, sustainable clothes, manufacturing, just natural dyes and everything. So yeah, that's been a huge influence to Erda. I mean, without that job, I wouldn't have been able to start as quickly as I did. Just like, I mean, I was using Shopify every day in the store. So I was able to build a Shopify store in no time and like know how to run the entire software. So that, I mean, that job, I owe that job everything. I even met my girlfriend in the store.
So, wow. How was that?
That's so good. So good. I mean, I owe this job my life. I mean, honestly, it's been amazing. I learned so much.
That's beautiful. And kind of a little bit on the topic of Shopify is having as many products as you currently have, which aren't so many compared to what you want to have. How do you keep people coming for more? I mean, I'd see how you do that with a towel, but for the sponge, how do you keep selling if it's not releasing a new product? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I mean, like you said, you can see it with this tallow. People are going to be wanting that every month, every couple months, whatever. The sponge is...
Well, it's almost like a one-time thing.
The sponge is kind of like a one-time thing. We just want to give people a good product and get them stop using plastic loofahs. I don't really care if you buy 10 sponges or if you buy one, as long as you're not using the plastic.
Yeah.
But I think what happens is you have to create a brand that people want in their homes.
I
So
love that.
that's the whole reason we care about how our product looks. Like I could slap on a sticker on a plastic jar and call it a day, and people would still buy
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, I get
But
that. When I finish my towel, I want to keep the bottle
yeah,
because I love the bottle.
and you can reuse it. You can reuse the glass. You can.
Yeah.
Um, we want to focus on like even better ways to reuse the product. Maybe it's sending in your jar for a discount. We'll refill it, send it back to you, for like half the cost or something.
Okay.
I don't know. I've experimented with different ways that we could possibly do that. But yeah, the whole reason we design everything and have the eye that we do is because we want people to not just want the product, but want the brand. Like,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a really important message that I'm gonna have to keep
Yeah.
for what I'm building.
Yeah.
For my last question on Erda specifically,
Mhm.
what has building Erda, taught you about the world?
Honestly, I've always known this, but
Mm-hmm.
it's been relayed so many times to me just through this company is that consistency is key.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you have to stay consistent with building new products, keeping up with customers, engaging with people on the internet, whatever it may be.
Mm-hmm.
If without consistency, you're never going to get anywhere. And that's the
Yeah.
same with the gym, relationships, you know, spirituality, whatever it may be. You have to just do it every single day
Mm-hmm.
and making like a habit of doing it. I mean, Atomic Habits, one of the best books I've ever read by James Clear.
Mm-hmm.
Amazing. If you haven't read it, I definitely recommend it.
Yeah.
It's all about like basically the whole thing is like curating your environment to make the habits easy.
Right.
So we want to do that with Erda as well. It's like curate the brand to make buying natural products easy. Like
Mm.
like I said, I want Erda to be the Amazon of natural products.
Mm-hmm.
I want to have everything on our site. People can just go to Erda and be like, all right, I need sponges, I need tallow, I need skincare, whatever. I need a candle. You know, I think it's taught me honestly so much. Just I mean, business is life. Selling life is all about sales and marketing and everything. That's everything we're doing on a day-to-day basis is basically sales and marketing.
Mm-hmm.
You're selling your podcast, you're selling your services, whatever. I'm
Mm-hmm.
selling myself when I talk to random strangers on the internet or in person. So, like, I mean, yeah, I think everybody should try at least to start a business, and I feel like that's where it's going, as well.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
No one wants to work for other people, even though
Mm-hmm.
I'm huge into that as well. I want collaboration
Mm-hmm.
between everyone, but I think everyone needs to at least experience business.
Mm-hmm.
And people are scared because it's like an investment or you might fail or whatever. But that's the whole point is to try and fail. And
Yeah.
yeah,
It's
I
those
don't know.
dark moments where the most light is found in those darkest moments.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
I love that.
That's when you learn is when
Right.
all my biggest lessons have been from my biggest failures.
Right.
So that's
Right.
the way to do it.
That's beautiful. The raw milk chug break. I
Shout
love
out
that.
Raw Farm. I don't know what I would do without them.
Yeah. I don't like milk, but my brother's addicted to it.
You don't like milk.
No. I don't like the taste at all. The
What?
smell.
What about
Nothing.
chocolate milk?
Maybe.
Maybe.
It
I
really
love
depends. If it tastes too much like milk, I can't have it. Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, my brother, we were in California for like a month
Yeah.
and a half. He would drink like a gallon of raw milk almost every like twice a week.
Yeah,
He
yeah, that
became
makes sense.
addicted to it.
That's awesome.
But we saw gains, which is amazing as well.
Dude, milk will give you the gains.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been drinking milk my entire life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I've gone. Actually, I went a while without drinking any milk. Something I think I started reading about the pasteurization and how it wasn't good for you.
Mm-hmm.
So I probably went like a year with no milk, and then a friend of mine in Charleston introduced me to raw milk.
Mm-hmm.
That was the game changer.
Yeah.
Honestly, that was the whole reason I got into, like,
Oh wow.
I
Okay.
just remember this. A family friend, they were going to farms and getting raw milk, and it was the best milk I've ever tasted in my entire
Yeah.
life.
I
I don't
love
want to
that.
say it's better than raw farms, but it was.
Yeah, it's a different cow.
Yeah.
How do you take your raw milk? Just raw, or do you add?
I mean, yeah,
my brother would mix it with maple syrup.
Maple syrup's really good. I've been making my own chocolate milk with cacao powder and maple syrup, but I drink so much milk. It's so good.
Yeah, I love that. So touching on consistency, there's this tweet you shared.
Mhm.
I'm gonna quote. Okay, no, it's not the exact quote, so don't kill me on that one. Creativity doesn't come naturally, but through consistency.
Mhm.
Creativity being a habit. How did you realize this?
Dude, I was just at the beach
Mm.
one day, and um, I was writing in just a little notebook. And normally when I write, I don't have a lot of like prompts
Ideas.
to write about. I just kind of
Okay.
write. And this was what I wrote about. And I was like, wow, that makes a lot of sense. Because whenever I am writing a lot, whenever I
Mm-hmm.
am drawing or creating ads or designs or whatever, everything just comes faster and more naturally. So,
That makes sense.
like, when you're not writing, you're not going to know what to write. But when you just are writing consistently, writing just flows and the words just
Mm-hmm.
fall on
Mm-hmm.
the page, it seems like. Same with like any sort of artistic endeavor, whether the artist is painting or writing songs or whatever. The more you do it, the easier it becomes. And yeah, it's just being consistent. And I think there's got to be some sort of like, I don't know, brain waves that are activated whenever you're consistently doing something it's like the same with working out, where if I'm doing a bench press every day and then I go the next day, my muscles are like, all right, we're going to do bench press. I know exactly what to do. My muscles are activated in the right way. So it's the same thing with the brain,
Mm-hmm.
where if I sit down, same spot every day, and I'm writing, the next day I sit in the same spot, my brain automatically gets into that flow creativity state. And I'm like, all right, so easy. Creativity requires that consistency, I think. So,
That's beautiful.
yeah.
That's beautiful. There's something else you share a lot on Twitter, which is there's a lot about God.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, what's your current understanding of God? And I ask the question this way, and a lot of times during this podcast, and it's because the more you connect to God, the more you understand what that means, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, what is that for you?
I mean, God, He is the creator of our universe. He is someone who desires a relationship with us, and He makes that abundantly clear, that He wants to talk to us. He wants to show us which path to take. And a lot of the time we're not listening, which becomes the downfall of most people. But I think if you just listen and want that relationship back, he'll let you know exactly what to do. So,
have you always had this relationship with God?
No. I mean, we went to church when we were little. We grew up going to church, but after we were like maybe 8 years old, we never went other than like Christmas and Easter maybe. But then again, it goes back to Costa Rica, where I don't know what prompted this, but I asked my mom if we had like a Bible in the house. And she shows me like my grandfather's old pocket Bible. It's tiny. It fits in your pocket. He got it in like the 40s from one of his friends in college. And I was like, this is so cool. I need this. And
I love that.
I took this Bible to Costa Rica. Wow. I read the whole thing.
Wow.
And one day as I was reading, I like closed the book, and then God just like literally spoke through me, and I was speaking these like scriptures that I've never read before. And I just happened to understand, like, the more consistent I am with him, the easier he's gonna be known in my life. And ever since then, I'm like, okay, this is real. Like, I've always heard about people having these experiences.
Yeah.
But I had never had one myself until then. And I was like, it's like the creator of our universe can literally speak to you if you listen and want that relationship. And ever since then, I've been, trying, sometimes more consistently than others to cultivate that relationship. But yeah, it's a long road developing faith, and it's not easy. You're always going to question. You're always going to, not understand. But it's so cool to feel guided and feel like I have a higher power watching over me and directing my life towards the best possible outcome. Whether it's the best possible outcome for the world or for me, I don't know, but whatever it may be, it's gonna be good. So
that's beautiful, and thank you for sharing that. For my last question, currently, what brings you most joy in life?
Honestly, definitely just building something, whether it's a little milk crate made out of wood that I find in the backyard, or new products, or even like relationships. I've just, with the holistic Olympics we had just the other week, gathering that group together and building something that had never existed before was like the coolest thing I've ever done.
Wow.
And, thanks to everyone that was there and made it happen. Thanks to all the sponsors as well. But I think just building things, and this is something that maybe everyone's missing out on, is we kind of just let things come to us. We're a very consumption-based society. So I think building is the simplest way to find joy, because you're reinforcing your ability to create something. You're reinforcing your own like confidence, I guess, that you can actually do what you're setting your mind to. And I don't know. Yeah, definitely that's where I find the most joy, is by
That's
by
beautiful.
building something.
Yeah, I forgot to, and I really want to talk about
Mhm.
the holistic Olympics.
Yeah,
Why'd you
so
host
much
that?
fun.
Yeah.
I was just talking with Case one day on the beach, and Case had started like a movement meetup group. So before I even moved here, he was probably hosting a bunch of like little group
Mm-hmm.
outings, having people meet up at the beach and doing workouts or whatever. And one day I just had the idea of like, why don't we turn this into a competition?
Wow.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I had no idea the Olympics was even happening this year
Yeah.
or anything. It was hilarious when somebody told me. I was like, what are you talking about? I was like, I thought the Olympics was like every 4 years or something. It's like, yeah, it's this year. I
Mm.
was like, oh, that works out perfectly.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I was talking to Case one day. I was like, why don't we do a competition?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, all right, call it the Holistic Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
And, we took a month. We were like, all right, we can do this. A couple
Mm-hmm.
competitions. We have so many friends that own brands.
Mm-hmm.
This is so easy.
Yeah.
Um, and I just kept planning it, got some help, reached out to brands, made it happen, and it was like the coolest day ever. So next year is going to be even crazier
Mm-hmm.
because I've never been a planner. I always
Mm-hmm.
just do things as I feel them. But like now that I have an experience,
Mm-hmm.
now that I have people helping me, the next year's is going to be like, we have
Yeah.
this vision for like a crazy 1,000-person event with like
Wow.
tons of brands,
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, it's going to be amazing. So
What are
you
you
gotta you
feeling
gotta
for
be
next
there.
year? Yeah. I was going to, well, I wasn't going to make it. I was just in
Mhm.
LA for a week, and I
Yeah,
went back to Coronado just when it was happening.
I mean, yeah, it was a small event this year. It was still a great turnout,
Mm-hmm.
um, but yeah, so much fun. I mean, that's one thing we want to do with Erda, is host more
Mm-hmm.
events like that. Just get people together
Mm-hmm.
and show off all the cool brands that are out there. Show off the way we're living to random
Mm-hmm.
bystanders, and just help as many people as we can, whether
Mm-hmm.
it's helping them find better ways to create healthy habits or just find like a community that they're
Mm-hmm.
missing out on. So, yeah.
That's beautiful. What are you feeling for next year?
Probably the same thing, just scaled
Yeah.
10x. So,
Same place.
same place for sure, because I mean, Muscle Beach has all the ropes
Mm-hmm.
and the rings and bars. Um, we want to do like a winter one,
Mm.
and then maybe one in Miami as well, because there's a big
Mm-hmm.
scene there. So,
Mm-hmm.
um,
If you're doing
it's
one in Miami, you should touch down in Austin as well. There's a big group there as well.
yeah, I thought about that as well. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe it turns into like a whole like crazy
Mm-hmm.
thing, which I would
Mm-hmm.
love. But
That would be beautiful.
yeah,
Yeah. What was the biggest takeaway of that event for you?
uh, hmm. I would say that like people are truly desiring community,
Mm.
and it's hard to gather everyone. Like I've noticed just in LA, it's such a big city that like
Mm-hmm.
you can meet people and be friends, but like it's so hard to get everyone together with like their different schedules, and
Mm-hmm.
you live 45 minutes away or whatever. So people are truly desiring community,
Mm-hmm.
and if I can figure out a way to bring people together as many times as possible, I think that'll be good. So that's
Mm-hmm.
probably my biggest takeaway, is just how can I figure out how to build Erda's community and reach as many people as possible.
That's beautiful, Cody.
Yeah.
That's it for me. And thank you so much for your time today. Definitely.
Thank you.
I'd love to run a part 2, but I won't make that happen if it's not in person.
Yeah, honestly, part 2, Arnie can join. We could
Yeah.
do a podcast in my backyard or in the
Yeah,
in the
I'd love
workshop
to
or
do it in
something.
the Erda HQ.
Yeah, it's small right now, but maybe
Mhm.
by the time we do a part 2,
Absolutely.
we'll have a warehouse or something. But
Mhm.
yeah, that's amazing.
Beautiful, Cody.
Thank you,
Much love, and thank you so much for today.
dude. Thanks for having me. It was
Of
an honor
course.
to meet you, and even
Yeah.
seeing you in the store was just so funny. I was like, definitely
that,
meant to be.
that was a really funny experience because I was in the I told you I was in the fitting rooms with my brother, and I smelled Erda, and
That's
I walk outside
hilarious.
and you're there. Yeah.
That's so awesome.
That was so confusing to me too, but that was great.
Yeah. I was surprised you knew about
Yeah.
industry. That was because it's a small. I mean, it's a big brand, but it's still small. Not
Yeah.
many people know.
One of my
But
mom's best friends is what's it called? The Denim Project.
oh yeah, the
So
new
that's
denim
how she
project.
yeah, that's how she that's well, she's known Industry of All Nations forever because we've been going to LA to visit family for a long
Mm,
time.
mhm.
But that connection is special between my mom and her. And yeah,
Yeah,
it's such a beautiful
that's cool.
project, both of them.
Hmm. Yeah, they're
Yeah.
based out of Guatemala, I think.
Actually, I have no clue.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's super cool. Wow,
Mhm.
that's a fun
Yeah.
connection.
Beautiful,
Yeah,
Cody. Thank you
dude.
so much, man.
Thanks for having me.
Give me a